Welcome, friends. We are your hosts, Sandy and Wade, baby best friends turned husband and wife and business partners.
This podcast is for the dreamers, the movers and shakers, and those who seek to attract their dream life.
Strap in. Getting magnetic in 3, 2, 1.
Like attracts like. If you see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. You just decide what it's going to be, who you're going to be, how you're going to do it. And then from that point, the universe is going to get out your way.
This moment in time, this is your time to rise.
This episode of Getting Magnetic is brought to you by Transistor.fm. Do you want to start your own podcast? Have you ever felt like you want to start your own podcast? We use Transistor.fm to publish each episode of Getting Magnetic, and they help us distribute it to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the platforms. They also give us stats on our most popular episodes. We can see how many downloads and listens per episode. It's the best and easiest way to manage your podcast. I absolutely love it because I can just log into our account. I can see what episodes do people like? What kind of topics do people like? It gives you what you track grows, right? It gives you analytics into how do I grow and build my podcast. And our listeners can get 15% off your first year when you sign up at transistor.fm/magnetic. Again, that's transistor.fm/magnetic for 15% off your first year. We will drop that link in the show notes. Now let's get to the show.
Hello. You have Sandy here. This is my first episode solo since having baby Cameron. I am recording this on, let's see, what is today's date? December 21st. And today's topic is going to be about something I really need to hear. I think oftentimes when you hear a speech or a podcast or whatever it might be, whoever's sharing or presenting may often be sharing from a space of something that they need to hear themselves. So I have so much I want to share on my experience in learning, like what I've learned in motherhood over the past 6 weeks. But what I want to focus on today is just kind of like being okay with where you're at. And that's something that I'm really focused on right now, is giving myself grace. And I know there's going to be some people out there that need to hear this message. So I'm going to start by reading a quote that a friend sent to me the other day, and I loved it so much. I've read it many times, and I sent it to my sister, and I asked my sister like 20 minutes ago before I pushed record, I'm like, hey, Ton, I need to record a Getting Magnetic so we stay on schedule here, and I have no idea what to talk about. What do you think? And she's like, what if you go off like that quote you sent me the other day and just kind of like freestyle and see where you go with it? And I'm like, wow, that's a great idea. So I don't know what's going to come out, but I feel like there's going to be some good stuff. So this is the quote. It's by Rye Reed. It says, I know you're rushing to get to that next phase in your life. You're sick and tired of being where you're at and feel like you should be somewhere else doing greater things. You're stressing yourself to have more. You're giving yourself anxiety, tricking yourself that you're behind. Listen to me. You are exactly where you should be at. You're where you're at because there's a few more lessons you have to learn before you go into that next phase. But I'll tell you this, as long as you're moving, you're not stuck. As long as you keep working, you're not stagnant. Be okay with taking steps and not running. You'll have experiences where you're running. This stage isn't that. Life is making you walk because you have a lot to learn in this moment in time, and you need more time to gather all this information. Wow. How good is that? That was the quote that I had sent to my sister. And it just reminded me, like, I am such a go, achiever, doer, mover, shaker, overcommit my calendar, overcommit my schedule, constantly doing things for others, just never really give myself a break. And the past 6 weeks since becoming a mother and bringing Cameron earthside, I have been really opposite of my normal self. Like, I've just really slowed down and given myself time to heal and rest. And there's definitely been a lot of those thoughts of I'm not doing enough. Wade's pulling all the weight in all of our businesses. I'm just relaxing and resting all day when really, like, for all the moms out there, we're not relaxing and resting. It may not feel like we're doing much because we're like cleaning poopy diapers and spit ups and blowouts and breastfeeding all day. But like, I need to give myself grace. And like this quote says, know that, there will be stages in my life where I'm running, and I've felt those stages before, but that this is not that, and that I'm not stuck. I keep reminding myself that I'm not stuck because I am still moving. And honestly, like doing this episode is like, getting out of my comfort zone of like, I could be snuggling my baby right now, but I came up here to take a few minutes and just kind of like open up this topic because I think it's something that is easy to do, to criticize yourself and feel like you're not doing enough. And sometimes doing less is more, right? Someone was telling me the other day, they get the most done when they rest. They're like, I need to rest to produce. I need to rest to create. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. It's like recharging, right? It's like your phone doesn't work if you don't charge it. It's that same thing. We need to take those breaks. And so maybe evaluate where you're at in your life. Like, when was the last time you let yourself completely reset and either give yourself a break or, I don't know, in some way, shape, or form, give yourself grace to not be operating at, maybe that high vibe, high frequency rate that you typically do if you're like that. So yeah, I think my point is kind of like, it's easy to be hard on yourself and feel like you're not getting much done because maybe a lot of things on your to-do list aren't getting done. But I think sometimes we have to go through these seasons to be able to give more ultimately. And I feel like a new version of me in this season is blossoming. I keep like thinking to myself, like, gosh, when am I going to feel myself again? When am I going to feel normal again? And then I had to ask myself, like, well, what's normal? Like, my normal has changed. It's never going to go, my life and, my identity is never going to go back to the way it used to be before motherhood. I'm the same girl, but I'm just better now. I just have like a new sidekick, and it just takes some time to kind of get in the groove. And so I want you to give yourself grace and know that if you're in a season where you feel out of touch with yourself, that's okay. I'm there too. You're not alone. And I think we need to normalize like not being okay sometimes, and normalize slowing down, and normalize like being flexible with like your schedule, like what you used to be able to commit to or what you used to be able to do. Things have seasons, right? Things change. And I think it's crucial to feel into that. Something that I've done in postpartum that is like very out of character for me, and I used to kind of like not understand when people would do this, or I don't know if judging them is the right word, but I guess judging them, is in postpartum, I have completely checked out of social media. Like, social media is a big part of what I do. I enjoy it. I use it as a tool for work. It's a great way to connect with people. And the past 6 weeks, I have been completely absent on Facebook, on Instagram. That's something I was spending hours a day on, connecting with people, networking, sharing the business opportunity, sharing my life. And I have completely shut that off. And that's a boundary that I've had to create in this season that I'm in, because I've had to just evaluate, like, why am I on there, like, right now in this fragile state? I'm comparing myself to other new moms. I'm comparing so many parts of me to other people. And what I need to be focused on right now is my healthy, happy baby. And I can't deal with anything that's a distraction from that, or anything that lowers my vibe and gets me in a negative state. So that's a boundary I've had to create for myself. So, when I've seen people do that in the past, like, just go dark on social media for a while, someone that was always super active, I'm like, that's kind of weird. Like, that's out of character for them. Like, was everything they ever shared like fake? Like, I don't understand. And now that I'm doing it myself, I realize, like, in this season, my main priority is my family. And I just have to do like an ultimate reset and focus on inward first, right? Like, I have to focus on me and my husband and my daughter, and get in our groove and build, like, feel like I have the strong, stable base and foundation so that I can shine my light bright. and then it will exude out from there. But it needs to start with just the three of us at home. So that's just an example of a boundary that I've had to create for myself. And I think boundaries are good. I think creating those kind of like limitations around what you will and won't engage in different seasons of your life is crucial. So I want to end this by, again, reading this quote. Maybe throughout this episode, things have come up for you. And sometimes you have to hear things multiple times for it to really sink in. So here's the quote by Rye Reed. I know you're rushing to get to that next phase in your life. You're sick and tired of being where you're at and feel like you should be somewhere else doing greater things. You're stressing yourself to have more. You're giving yourself anxiety, tricking yourself that you're behind. Listen to me. You are exactly where you should be at. You're where you're at because there's a few more lessons you have to learn before you can go into that next phase. But I'll tell you this, as long as you're moving, you're not stuck. As long as you keep working, you're not stagnant. Be okay with taking steps and not running. You'll have experiences where you're running. This stage isn't that. Life is making you walk because you have a lot to learn in this moment in time, and you need more time to gather all this information. I love it. I love it. Every part of it. It's just the reminder of you really are exactly where you need to be. And we all deal with that head trash of telling ourselves, that we could be doing more, or look at Sally or look at Susie or what so-and-so's doing. And it's like, shut all that off. Focus on where you're at. Focus on how you're doing, making sure your soul is good, making sure your cup is filled, and know that I'm doing the work alongside you. So sending you all lots of love, and you'll be hearing more of me on Getting Magnetic soon. Have a good day.
Only those that can see the invisible can do the impossible.
So remember, you are magnetic.